people are very committed to the struggle. If I'm not struggling, I'm not working. And if I'm not working, I'm not who I say I am. So it has to be hard.
Welcome to another episode of All Up in Your Business. Today, I have a special guest joining me, and we're going to be discussing all things leadership. It is a topic that I have been a part of as a coach and also in my own journey as an entrepreneur, even in my executive career, where I had to learn different tactics based on different environments in order to really stay true to myself through the process, but also get some really hard things done. It is not uncommon to feel challenged on how to lead. And Adrian Koehler is one of the no-nonsense leadership coaches out there and business development people I know that I wanted to have the dialogue with him to share his perspective, but also some tactics for you to lead with ease going forward. So I'm just going to read a brief background about Adrian so you get to know him a little bit, but obviously we'll dive right into the conversation and you'll see why he's top of his game and has helped so many people globally in order to lead from the inner space in order to have outer impact. So Adrian Koehler is the no-nonsense leadership engagement expert and senior partner at Take New Ground. This is a go-to guide for fast-moving leaders. Dedicated to breaking through barriers, he spends his time helping entrepreneurs and enterprise leaders cut through the noise and create transformative outcomes. Adrian coaches executives globally, encouraging authentic leadership and fostering courage for meaningful change. His passion for human performance has led him to diverse contexts, from Fortune 500 organizations to startups and healthcare, making Adrian a catalyst for real talk and impact results. Adrian extends his influence beyond the boardroom as the co-host of Raising the Bar and the Naked Leadership podcast, drawing on his background in philanthropy, ministry, activism, and medicine. He thrives in difficult conversations and engaging complexity, challenging listeners to live authentically. Currently residing in the heart of Hollywood with his children, Scout and Charlie, who are the cutest, Adrian is on a mission to inspire authentic leadership, urging individuals to raise the bar in both personal and professional realms. You see why I had to have him on the show? I'm so excited to share today's conversation with you. And as always, we love to hear back from you. So please go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, and review on whatever platform you're listening to us on to make sure that we know this type of content is something that drives action in your life. All right, let's jump into it and get all up in your business with Adrian, my special guest today.
I remember the first coach I ever talked to, her name was Coach Kelly. This was like 16 years ago. So I've been coaching for a long time now. But I remember one phrase that she said, one clause that it stuck with me. She said, people are very committed to the struggle. They're committed to the struggle.
Yeah.
Like that, especially if you're a striver, and every founder that you and I have ever talked to.
No pain, no gain?
Yeah. Oh, shit. If there's no pain, then am
No
I really
pain,
doing
no gain,
enough?
that philosophy? No, thank you.
It's such a default thing for them is like, if I'm not struggling, I'm not working. And if I'm not working, I'm not who I say I am. So it has to be hard instead of how do I generate ease in the conversation?
Yeah.
And connection, camaraderie.
Right.
I usually call it. It's like, oh, we're on the same side of the table looking at the problem together instead of most folks position it in their mind, usually unconsciously, like, here's me on this side of the table, here's them on the other side of the table, and the problem is between us. So if we fix the problem, then we can be together instead of somebody, the most courageous person, coming around the table figuratively and sitting next to the other person saying, okay, let's say that we're in this thing together. And how does that change the mood? I just got chills just because.
Yeah, I did too. It like landed in very grounding me only because I've been thinking about this we're in such a chaotic leadership environment right now. And we're all needing a little bit more grounding and the willingness, the courageousness that you just talked about to just come to the same side of the table and let's solve this together. Because the leadership through chaos and everything thrown at anybody trying to do anything these days that is just even in the good of things can be slanted and can be put into a different type of negative conviction because it just feels so hard. And I don't know that we have that stamina anymore because we're just so much smarter now. Like we are
Mm-hmm.
just so much smarter and so innovative in how we can approach things that
Mm-hmm.
no pain, no gain mentality to me is so antiquated. Yet
Mm-hmm.
we're having to like feel the pain in order to push through in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
environments.
Yeah. I talked about that even just I'm using this 2-day training I just did at the top of the week this week as reference. But we talked about that. I asked them you know, because somebody in the room talked about, the Google idea of whatever the research project was about psychological safety. It's like, oh, psychological safety, big thing. Yes. Okay, fine. But welcome to the lowest common denominator. How about I don't need safety? I'm courageous despite what's coming at me. How about that as a vision? Instead of like, we need it to be psychologically safe. And I know that's like, oh, acceptable, not acceptable. It's like actually virtuous. It seems
Yeah.
virtuous to like generate safety for people, but it's such a
Yeah, it's a broad
lie.
stroke. It's got a nice marketing spin on it. But the truth of the matter is like, I see you, you see me. What are we trying to accomplish here? Let's just talk about it and like find that common ground to move things forward and not create more of a swirl with all the different nomenclatures to like sift through and then have to convince ourselves that we're actually doing that thing when it's like, no, brass tacks, like let's get into it. What do we got to do?
And my question for them, just because I'm a nerd in all of my trainings, like what tell me what you think courage means. What is courage? Like where does it come from? I'm a etymological weirdo. I want to know where words come from.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So courage comes from the heart.
Yeah.
It's not conviction that way. It's like, oh, I'm going to give myself to this process. Like there's a vulnerability, and we're all humans, so we naturally protect ourselves
Hmm.
because our brains want to do two things. One is want to survive. Second, want to save energy so I can survive later if I need to. Protect the spacesuit,
I
as
like
Alan
to
Watts would say.
define courage as faith in action.
Yeah, that's right.
Someone asked me that once because they're like, wow, you're so courageous. You've done so much. You put yourself out there. You do these things. Like, where do you get your courage from? I was like, that's just faith in action. And that's part of the original top of this conversation around conviction. It's like, I know, like my faith and my certainty comes from the fact that I will recover from anything other
Mm-hmm.
than death. I will
Mm-hmm.
recover. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so why not
Yep.
put it out
Yep.
there? And I have faith in my resourcefulness and my ability
That's
to
right.
find the conversation that I need to have if I'm not going in the right direction, or if I am, like how to, put that in motion even deeper. But it's an interesting word, courage.
Courage. I mean, it comes from the French, like le coeur, which is the heart, right?
Heart.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, which is I'm going to give myself to this thing,
Yeah.
and then
Wholeheartedly.
wholeheartedly, yeah, I'm just going to give myself. Yeah, yeah. It's like yes, wholeheartedly. Here I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah.
And your statement a second ago was just like such a confirmation of what it takes, which is like, hey, and if it doesn't work, no problem.
Right.
There's nothing that's going to keep me on the ground. I'm going to get
No.
up and go
Yeah.
again. Get up
Yeah.
and go again.
And that took skill and that took time. It's not to say that I wasn't sitting in a holding pattern for a period of time of in that self-doubt talk or in that space of unknown and uncertain. But what I did know, and I think that where it was the most courageous step was if I do not try, I will never know for sure.
Right.
And that requires action.
Well, and that's the haunting of most high performers in my experience
Yeah.
is that, sometimes in a room, if I'm in a room of like 20 or 30 people, I'll say like, what level, just think about how engaged you are. 0 out of 10. 10 is like, oh, I'm all in. 0 is I'm not all in. How would you, rate yourself? And then I take a poll around the room, and almost always the number is 7,
Hmm.
which is always fascinating
Very safe.
to me. Yeah, very safe. It's like, you
Very
know what?
safe.
I'm doing a good job. I've got
Right.
room
I'm
left to
here.
give. And I said, what if your 7 is actually a 4? Because here's what high performers don't think about is like your 7 is most people's 10. And my work with high performers is they're troubled.
Mm,
They're troubled in the sense that they know and they actually get a thrill out of, I'm not at a 10,
yeah.
So
It's the what else dialogue. What else can I
yeah,
be doing? What else
that's
should
right.
I? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just stop giving ourselves credit for things that we don't actually deserve credit for. Because you're actually troubled, and I want people not to be troubled. I want people to feel authentic. They feel like, and to act to be real out there in the world. And so, like, I want them to notice how they're holding back because they have the license to hold back because they're twice as smart as most people. They're twice as convicted. They're twice as ambitious. That's just true. It's just true. Not like
And also,
arrogance.
we
That's
we
just,
need we need to have leaders like that shine more these
yes.
days, especially.
Yes, and to do it with humanity, which I think is, I mean, historically, it's been like, let's just drive people and make them. No, 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 no. Why don't we become savants at the relational context that is necessary for leadership? And that's a weird phrase for probably many people. What I mean by that is, because I had this group Monday and Tuesday this week, as I keep referencing, what is leadership? And they like gave all these symptoms of what leadership is. And we just say at Take New Ground, leadership is generating results through other people. Now that takes some art,
Yes, it does.
not only science. It takes art,
Beautiful.
and it's like connecting with folks. I mean, even coming out of this training is like, oh, there's an enrollment conversation because they're busy presenting ideas and not seeing if ideas work. Those are two different worlds. Here it is versus here it is, and what do you think? And maybe the idea can get better. Maybe it can expand. Maybe I can't do my idea, even if I'm right about it. My rightness might create wrongness, i.e., it doesn't work. The best idea that doesn't work is a bad idea. So helping people think through or challenging them, to your point, to like have the faith that I'm going to like present this and see if it's working or not. And then, get into action. And that takes some guts. And that's, nobody learns that in school. That's
No.
why they hire people like you.
And people like you. That's how we shine, because we've done it ourselves in our own transformation, in our own worlds of how we personally wanted to shift that energy and lead from a place of inner connection, inner knowing, and also find, and I don't know why I wanted to use the word satisfaction, but it is satisfying to when it clicks. So it's not
Yeah.
necessarily like I'm satisfied, because that's
Yeah.
hard to even digest that word, but it's satisfying when you have those moments of clarity where you're like, oh yeah, okay, like I actually did practice the courageous step to put my thoughts out there, the actions behind it to test to see what's possible, the ability to say, no, this is not working, I'm going to let it go, let's move on to the next, or let's tweak it a little bit and pivot, whatever that looks like, and just continue down that forward momentum to stay in action and continue to learn, and it's such a cool way to converse today on all the things we have dynamically as leaders to step up and the challenges we face. But most of all, because this show especially is like, I want to make sure people know that they're not alone in it, right? And that there are guides, or there are moments where you can walk in lockstep with someone else to decide that I just need the sounding board. I need new tactics. Like my tactics that I have don't work in this environment anymore. They don't work for me. I've outgrown it. So how
Hmm.
best can people connect with you, Adrian? Because I know they're going to want to and see what your programming is like and working with your company. So let's let people know.
Well, that's gracious. Let me answer that. Secondly, firstly, just agree with you. Is it's lonely at the top is such an old conversation. Don't buy it. That's my thing. Don't buy it.
The
Don't buy that.
loneliness.
That's lonely at the top. No,
Yeah.
it's only lonely because we want it to be lonely. Because if it's lonely, then other people don't get it, and then I get to be the right and how entitled I am to whatever I do because of the loneliness and the conversation about loneliness. If that makes sense to you. So my thing is, you don't have to be lonely. Why don't you get connected? There's other people that know what it's like and that can truly empathize and not sympathize with where you're at. They can understand you, but not buy it, not buy the
Yeah.
story. And if you're a high performer, uh, the fact that you're troubled is what the world needs.
Hmm.
So it's not a problem. It's actually a gift. The fact that there's things you want to solve, there's issues that you want to get into, that's beautiful. And the fact that it keeps you up at night, yes. I mean, you can go be less if you want, but just be more. It's great. Now, but be more in a way that actually works for you. I don't want you to suffer throughout the rest of your life. I do want you to be troubled in a way that works, both for others and for yourself. So that's my first response. If people want to get, connected on our side, we're takenewground.com. Um, I'm 45. I've got a couple kids. I've got a business partner that's 70. He's the GOAT in this space. And we work with businesses. We work with business leaders. We also work with business leaders that want to get to, the human, are like the, integrated side of themselves. So we run, personal training seminars type stuff, called the Revenant process or the Intrepid, which is helping you lead through or generate leadership through the mindset of a coach. So we run this 3-month process that people actually come in and see, oh my gosh, I didn't even know how to get, because I mean, I said it at the very beginning, the top of this podcast, which was like, how do you get from symptoms to causal issues? The faster
Yeah.
you get to that in
Yeah.
a way that works for the other person, that's gold. Like, how do
Yes.
I turn
That's the
4
magic.
conversations into one?
Yeah.
That's gold. That saves
Yeah.
you money. That saves you time. That saves you energy. That builds trust. And there's ways to do that are invisible because we don't learn that in MBA school,
No.
whatever. Like there's no class about that.
Yeah. To soft skills.
Yeah, it's a soft, yeah, and which when I talk about soft skills, I talk about them as vital competencies because actually that's where life is. It's like, how do I can move an idea from here in my head to reality? I have to do it through other people, and there's life that has to happen there, and you train yourself. So anyway, we love to support people in generating those vital competencies. So you can go to takenewground.com. You can, find me on Instagram, Adrian.K, Adrian. I'm not French, Adrian.K. On Instagram, you can DM me, connect with me, Adrian at takenewground.com. Anyway, I'd love anybody,
I'll put them
anybody,
in. I'll put the links in for you.
anybody that's listening to this podcast and you trust Kareen, that's why you're listening to it. I would love to spend time with you on my dime, just because of Kareen, my adoration of Kareen.
That is so
And
great.
yes, so I'd love
What
to
a
spend
gift.
time and just get to know you and hear
Yeah.
and see if there's ways to support what you're up to.
So needed. And I want to just acknowledge your stance in life and how you choose every day to ensure that the gifting of others shine in truth and in action and hold space for them because it's so needed. So thank you so much for sharing this conversation with me today and a bit of your practice. You and I could spend days
Mhm.
talking. We have so much we've seen done, but also
For sure.
how I'm always here for you too. If there's any challenge you're ever facing, Adrian, or anything you need held space. I know you have a great community around you, but I'm always here for you too. And thank you, everybody, for watching, listening, and joining us. Of course, if you have a takeaway, please let us know. Tag us in it, share it on, and we're here to support you. Thank you so much, Adrian.
So good to be here. Thank you.
Just want to remind you that breakthroughs and strategies are here for you. You don't have to be isolated on your business building journey. If you'd like to have a chance to connect with me and let me be all up in your business, go to heykareen.com/connect, and a team member will share how you can obtain the best support at this time. You always can have me in your pocket by leveraging my AI. Go to heykareen.app, download it, and start chatting away. And of course, you know, I am always here, willing and ready to be the support you need. All you have to do is ask.